It's the Yep Yeah Yes podcast with Marissa and Tamieka.
Look, I'd rather be a gambler than a weedhead.
I walked in, sat down, had to leave, and violently vomited.
I'm not going down that hole. I'm not. Don't even try me. Not today, Satan. Not today. I value my friendship.
You're the cream, and the coffee is life. Life.
You bring cream to my life.
Ooh, I'm not sure.
Once a week for an hour.
Hello. First I want to start off by saying your skin looks amazing.
It's dry, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it's probably just Zoom, but it is dried out. I should have been using Skin Protect. What do you call that stuff? I take
Lotion?
for granted being melanin that I don't need the skin blocking. I mean the sun blocking.
Right.
Sun Protect, I meant.
Ah.
But it's fine.
Well, you look amazing.
Thanks.
You look great. But you actually sparked today's thought. So this week I wanted to talk about, just doing a quick little check-in, mental health, the state of the world, all that stuff. And the reason that you were the inspiration for this week was, hopefully I'm not sharing too much, but you did go on vacation just recently. And I vicariously lived through you with your posting. We got to FaceTime and I got to enjoy a moment of Zen vicariously through you. And I thought to myself, you know what? Thanks for the check-in. I loved it. And I was generously gifted delicious coffee.
Did you try it?
Oh, girl, this is so good. This is
what am I talking about?
Yes.
I tried it. They had a sample, so I did try it when I bought it. So I'm glad.
Did you like it? Because I'm loving it. I think it's so smooth, and my boo thing was like, oh, this is good.
Well, the boo things were not from Hawaii. I had them. I just kept forgetting to give them to you.
No, I meant my boo, not my boo things, not the cups.
Okay, the mug said boo. That's
what
I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I meant my boo thing.
Okay.
He had some too, and he was like, "Whoa, this is really good."
Well, that's good. It costs enough. Shit, coffee is expensive. I don't never buy coffee. Like I'm not like I'll drink coffee every once in a while, but I'm not like a coffee drinker. And so,
apparently. So he made mention to that because he was like, wait a minute, this type of coffee, this Boer coffee. He's like, this is really expensive. And I was like, oh, really? He goes, yeah, I've heard about this. This is supposed to be like really good, but it's pricey. And I was like, oh, well, let's whip up a batch and try it out.
Yes. It is what it is. I was looking for cheap coffee, but I couldn't find none. So
out there, everything's expensive though.
It really isn't.
No,
not as what I expect. I think when your expectations are set at a particular level,
yeah.
Out when I thought eggs was going to be like $6, and they're just like here. Everything's the same. It's just there's certain things that are way more pricier, like gas. Like the gas where we stayed was $4.66.
It's going to be like that next week anyway. So.
The cheapest gas that I found, that I saw was $3.99 by the volcano park, and I should have got gas there. You know how you just I just want to keep going. I should have filled up there because I just knew that I was going to find $3.99 again, and that place was like an hour and 45 minutes away. So,
yeah. Question. So, how do you feel rejuvenated? Do you feel like you had a moment to just breathe, take in everything that life has to offer? Do you feel rejuvenated?
I do feel rejuvenated. I do feel like I took in every moment. I do feel like I relaxed a lot. As many excursions and things that we did and going out to eat and stuff like that, we were able to also relax. One of the things that I did do, and I know I do this every time I go on like a beachy vacation, I realized I say this to myself, and then I just I come back to Long Island and I kind of like it dissipates. But I really need to focus on my mantra this year, which is that's none of my business. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So what other people are doing is not any of my business until it becomes part of my business.
okay.
And so like I'm just not making any more like I don't want to say I'm not going to make any effort, but I'm not I'm tired. I'm not making an effort to like explain that Black Lives Matter. Like if you know, you know. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I'm not like just I I I just don't want to I don't want to try to explain, talk politics and try to explain my point of view. I don't want to try to explain why I feel a certain way about vaccines, getting vaccinated or not getting vaccinated. Like I'm tired. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But at the same time, with that being said, that also means by not doing that, that means I have to like step away and not engage at all. You know what I'm saying? Just take myself out of it completely because I
Okay.
know I can't keep my opinion to myself in those particular circumstances. So the
Oh,
best way to avoid it and to keep my peace is to not even be in it. You know what I'm saying?
okay.
Damn. Sorry, there's a bug that just flew in here.
I saw, and you know what the funny thing is? It went perfectly across the screen. Did you find it?
Yeah, it landed on my computer.
Oofa.
It did.
Um, oh, hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh gosh. I'm like, sorry, I'm all a mess. Um, you, I can't. I wanted to do a quick little check-in thing. So you're good at this. So this is from idon'tmind.com. It's 10 simple questions to check in on someone's mental health.
Okay.
And it's just examples of common human decency and how to go about it. But when I say common human decency, I want to do a caveat quickly because I think it's very easy for some and not for others. And I think one of the things that I am trying to speak more on is having an open mind where I have so many social anxieties and quirks.
Do you see
But
this? Oh, you took it down. Never mind. You had like a thumbs
what?
up on your screen for the longest. It's
Really?
it's
I
gone.
didn't see it on mine.
It's gone. It just
Oh, that's
disappeared.
weird.
Anyway, so go ahead.
So things that I find easy because I have so many anxieties and social like that if I find something easy, I'm like everybody has to be able to do that. So one of the things is how are you feeling today? Physically and mentally. What's taking up most of your
Headspace. I can't
of
hear
your
you.
headspace right now?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like what's taking up most of your headspace right now? Like it sounds just so awkward in a conversation.
Right.
What's your last full meal? Have you been drinking enough water? I don't know. What did you do today that made you feel good? Actually, that's one of those things that like that's a writing prompt in education. So it's one of those things that's for some reason it's so like, what did you do today that made you feel good? Think of
Right.
something, brainstorm. Now let's write about it. What's something you can do today that would that would be good for you? What's something you're looking forward to in the next few days? Um, have you found yourself you're very good at giving a prompt and and being quiet. I'm not good at that. Where I'll ask somebody like, how have you been? Lately I've been blah, blah, and then I keep talking and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, stop talking.
Right.
But you're good at like, so what you been up to? And giving the other person space to actually answer. Have you found yourself lately doing that more, doing that less, doing it at all?
I found myself um like in the midst of a conversation, I find myself stopping because I realize I might be talking too much and letting that person have the space to talk. with that being said, I also, when I disagree with someone, what I've noticed I've been doing is just, I'm not going to argue about, like, why would I argue with somebody about something we both do not see eye to eye, and they're not going to change my opinion? Or I know something to be factual. Why am I going to argue them to see something as factual? They're going to figure, they're going to learn. Like, I'm not a teacher. So that's one thing that I've been doing. I'll just be like, all right, okay. And then just leave it there. And then, but they want to continue on. I'm like, I'm out. I'm over it. Like, just, you will see later that that happened on Friends, because one day you will watch a repeat and I was right or I was wrong. I don't know. But if I believe something to be factual, and I'm just not going to argue about it. I don't have time. Not that I don't have time. I don't have the energy.
Do you think that's a new, renewed, none of my business sort of mantra?
It's a, but I don't know what the word is, but it's part of that. You know what I'm saying? Why do you keep, did you see that?
Yeah. How do I take that off?
I don't know what you're
What is
doing.
this?
I don't know
What
you're,
is happening?
anyway, for people that are listening, all kinds of icons keep coming up on Marissa's screen. I think she's touching her screen without realizing it.
I'm not, but it's so weird because it said like this automatic thing, and I'm wondering if I'm like waving my hands a certain way.
Maybe. Anyway.
So you were saying, I apologize.
I think it's a piece of it, but I just, like, I was with a friend a couple weeks ago, and I said to the friend, I said, you never hang out. Like, you always have an excuse why you can't go to something that I have. Something like that. I said something. And the friend was like, that's not true. I was like, yes, it is. And then the friend was like, give me an example. And I was like, I'm not going to give you an example. Like, see, then if you can't give me an example, then so then that to me is childish. And I'm just not playing those games. Like, I told
Right.
you how I feel. Obviously, you're not looking behind the reason that obviously I wouldn't say that if I wasn't hurt by the fact that you don't show up. Because why mention it unless you're hurt? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
like, why mention somebody's fallacy when it pertains to you unless you're hurt by that fallacy? So now I'm not going to be gaslighted into, making that person feel better about the fact that they don't show up for me.
It's so I'm so glad that you talk about friends and how friends show up and don't show up. So the state of the world right now is, in my opinion, I know to some people they're thriving. Good for you. Some people are really like doing the best that they'll ever do. But one of the things that I realized is that, so like I said, I started this whole thing with the caveat to say, like, I have a lot of social anxieties. I'm very introverted. I'm very wary. I get very, very cautious and nervous. And people that meet me are like, "Oh my God, you're so outgoing. You're so friendly." What do you mean? Not at all. You don't understand that that's an act. Like, that's like it's all an act. In the inside of my brain, all I'm thinking of is like, why did I say hello that way? Now I sound weird. I'm so awkward. Stop standing here. Stop. Shut up, Marissa. Like, that's all that goes through my head. I have a lot of anxieties, and I'm being more honest with it as I'm older. And I think that one of the conversations that so I just shared something that says thankful for friends who, and one of the conversations that oh my God, that this is really weird. Hello?
I'm here.
Oh my God, this thing is like something's happening on my end. I don't know.
I
So
see everything. I see you. I see the everything's
is
fine.
okay. So one of the things that that you and I have spoken about is like, so picture it 20 years ago, when I'd say like, oh, you know what, that person should have understood. And it's like, wait a minute, but look at it outside of your perspective. What you put out is not exactly maybe what you're feeling, but think about what you put out. So it's having that, self-realization to say like, wow, you know what? Now I understand why that person's reaction or that person's, frame of mind or thought process towards me is this way. It is because I'm projecting something. So while other people say to me like, oh, you're so friendly, you're so outgoing, what are you talking about? And I'm like, but I'm not.
Right.
But I've also never been honest with how much of anxiety that I have, and like I will have a mini panic attack and hyperventilate if I'm meeting someone somewhere, of like if it's a group, like even like PTA stuff, like if it's like a meeting and I'm walking in by myself, I'm like,
Right. Right.
but anyway, but be that as it may, this thing is like thankful for friends who like message you, respond no matter what time, schedule to hang out and follow through, boost your self-esteem, bring you food, take good photos of you, check up on you, things like that. So it's one of those things that I have to say that you have been my saving grace in so many periods and moments in my life. I had Your follow through is impeccable. I had a wish list, and you not only brought it to fruition, you followed through and you made sure that it happened. I wanted to have a beach, uh I forgot how we worded it, a beach meal, sunset meal, whatever. And not only did you make sure that it happened, you followed through, you made sure that the company was what it was, and it was, um it helped me um do that, like that mental like, okay, yes, this is exactly what I needed right now, in I'm like babbling, I realize that I love the beach, I love the water, I know there's healing properties there. uh don't know, need to change my mind because it's not changing. Feet in the sand, smelling the ocean does something for your body and your spirit, at least mine. Some people it's like the mountains. But there was something so great about that, and catching up with old friends, and just sitting there, being around people. you
Right.
know right now it's not the easiest. It's not things that are not happening the way, you know we all probably thought it would. And that's one of those like small moments that like really thankful for that friend who, and you have a tendency to check all these like boxes, ticks for me as far as in gratitude. And you were on this picturesque scenic beach, and you shared that moment with me, and it was like a moment of breathing for me. I wasn't even there, but it was a moment of breathing. I
Right.
think
Right.
about you know this coffee, which is so delicious. It's just a moment to like sit and pause, and it created a conversation within my home, and it created these moments that it's a domino effect. Have you had a moment where you've sat in this whole like state of the world where you can be like, I'm thankful for blah.
You know what? It's weird because like I don't like we're in a space right now in the show where we're talking about, the thankfulness and the things that bring us quote unquote joy, peace, serenity. And I'm looking at all the stuff that you have posted on the screen, and all I'm thinking is this is the flip side of me where I'm thinking like how come I don't have friends that do this for me? But I know that there are points that all of this stuff has happened to me, but I never feel like it's ever consistent. You know what I mean? It's like a period, it's a moment. I don't feel like it's ever like a constant, like I got back from Hawaii on Sunday, and nobody has called, none of my friends, not one friend has called me like or checked up on me, like, how was your trip? How was your flight? How are you doing? You good? None of that. And I'm like, but these are supposed to be like my best friends. Like nobody's reached out. Like nobody. And then so that part is like checking up on. You know what I mean? Like I missed you.
Right.
You just let's get together, see your pictures, something. There's nothing. I've gotten not one person. And that kind of it's like kind of hurts my feelings because I know I wouldn't be that way. I know I'm not like that to my friends. You know what I mean? And so I look at the list and I'm just like, Yeah, that's great. And though I can think of moments where every single one of those things has happened to me where I feel like, yes, my friend has brought me food. I remember when I was sick one time and you came and brought me McDonald's, just like 10 years ago before your kids were even born. And you might not even remember that. But I remember it. And I remember my Nana was there and she was like, wow, you that's a nice friend. She knew you wasn't feeling good and she bought you some French fries because she knew you like French fries. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I remember that and I appreciate that because that's probably you were with your boo thing then. So it was in the beginning of your relationship. So, maybe 11, 12 years, something like that. Um, but it's something that sticks with me to this day. And it's nothing grandiose, but it's just McDonald's for God's sakes. But I remember that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just one of those things where you get into your moments where you're like, you just get somebody on the wrong day. You're like, nobody fucking cares. None of this shit is true. It's all bullshit. Nobody likes me. You might see me next week and it's like, all my friends are the greatest. But in this
But
moment now, like maybe it's because I left a beautiful place like Hawaii is beautiful. Everything about it was perfect. And to come back to this, dreary day, which is today. I mean, when I came back, the weather was perfect on Long Island. It was like, oh my God, it's like 82 degrees, beautiful, sunny, perfect. But today is on Long Island is, dreary, rainy, and depressing. And I'm looking at this list and I'm like, how come none
wah,
of your
wah,
friends
wah.
have reached out to me? Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anywho,
I want to share another I feel like this is a oh, I apologize. Here we go. So it's emotional focused coping skills. So there's exercise, taking a bath, giving yourself a pep talk, meditate, walking, asking for support, establish healthy borders, and create a to-do list. So one of the things that I find is, and I think it's an innate thing.
mhm,
I think it's a chemical, a brain chemistry thing. Some people are consistently sitting in like silver lining, and some people just don't. And
right.
I think that's a brain chemistry thing. One of the things that I really on this emotional problem focused coping skills, emotion focused coping skills. I have a group chat with two of my cousins, and one of them was like, "Oh, just do some self care. Go take a bath, paint your nails," and I'm like, "Ew." I don't. That's not something like. Once I find that verbiage extremely dismissive,
Hmm.
and I'm usually a pretty like positive person, even if my brain is telling me something different outwardly and innately. I'm trying to say like, listen, in this storm, there's gonna be a positive. So it's not a struggle as much for others, but there's obviously weak moments, but usually my brain chemistry focuses like, all right, all right, all right,
Right.
think about it. After this storm, there is a rainbow. What's going on right now? Okay.
Whoops, your audio went out. Wait a second. I don't know what happened. Okay, there you go.
Tests. Oh, so I still find certain words and certain actions and certain advice extremely dismissive. Taking a bath, shut the fuck up. Give yourself a pep talk. Who the fuck does that? Meditate, I think, is great. Exercise, obviously, there's chemical release of endorphins. Asking for support, I think, is one of those things. I don't think it's dismissive, but I think when you're doing a check-in with someone, um, be prepared. Be prepared to lend support, because sometimes people are like, "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh my god, girl," and you're like, I gotta go. I didn't mean for all this."
Right.
Do you Is there anything with coping skills that you find dismissive?
Um, I don't think I don't I think trying to think like dismissive. Um, like none of the ones on here to me, nobody's ever, other than my mom will tell me to take a bath, and I don't think that's dismissive. Usually she'll say it in response to my joints are hurting or something like that. She knows
Right.
the healing properties of water, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
hot water at that. So I don't consider that dismissive. Um, and I try not to, complain too much about my fluctuation in weight, because I don't want nobody to tell me go exercise. Are you going to pay for my exercise? Are you going to pay for my gym membership? So I don't find any
Yeah.
of them dismissive, mostly because I don't seek out the opinion of people when it comes to my personal, well-being. And I've been to therapy, so I know worst case scenario, I'll just call up my doctor and be like, I know it's been a couple of years, but I need you again.
And how do you find that?
What do you mean?
Like, you're good, that's okay with you?
Going to therapy?
No, just like, listen, when I need a tune up, just give a call, get my tune up
Yeah,
when it
yeah.
comes to therapy.
You all, everybody has got to do their own thing. There are people that are not trying to go to therapy, would rely on alcohol and drugs. Um, right now, which is not necessarily a good thing. Like, for the past few years, I've relied on, gambling. That's not good. You know, um, I don't know. Everybody's got their own thing that they turn to for their own peace of mind. For that, for me, sitting at a slot by myself and zoning out, it's just, I don't have to think about anybody else. I don't have to talk to anybody else. I'm just in my own world. And are you kidding me? I can wear a mask and I can put a hat on, and so like nobody really, like, just I'm in my own world.
I think I mentioned this before. You said masks. I think I mentioned this before. I'm like, I like pre-pandemic, it was like I'll talk to everybody. I'm sitting there having a conversation with everybody. And it's quite annoying. But since this whole COVID mask mandate things, it's like I'm not making eye contact, I'm not smiling, I'm not stopping to chat with people. And I have found it so amazing to just not have to do that. I didn't realize how taxing that was to me, to
Right.
constantly like making small talk and chit chat. Because I remember at one point you're like, "Why are you talking to them?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, just be friendly." I did not realize what that was doing to me until I stopped doing it.
I
And
can't
even
stand, I cannot stand people that make small talk. You do it, my mother, everywhere we go. Hello. I'm like, why do you have to say hi to everybody? Why? Like, I don't understand. Just, I can't. And so she's still sitting high with the mask on.
I'm not so much, and I don't mind it. I find it very like I get what you've been saying all these years, and I
Oh,
got
and
I dig it.
by the way, how you guys are, that's none of my business. I'm just pointing it out. Unless it becomes my business, where now I'm dragged into a conversation.
Yeah, you know what? The crossing guard today, she was like, and stopped the car, and I was like, oh god. And she's talking to me for like 15 minutes and showing me photos, and I'm like, I said have a great weekend like 55 times, and she just kept talking, and I was like, I've been doing that for a really long time.
My mother,
Ugh.
she was, when we went to a farmer's market and she was buying chocolate or something.
Mhm.
And then she comes over to the booth that I'm at. And she's like, those people, they're from Massapequa and they moved here, this, that, and the other. I was like, they're from Massapequa, really? Like, for those that don't know, Massapequa is on Long Island. But the fact that she had a whole like conversation with
No.
them, you didn't talk about any of the stuff that you just closed. The slide that you just had open, you never
Oh,
you never mentioned anything about it. But yeah, just that's how she and I, as much as we're alike, we're very different. Because I'm not
yeah.
that outgoing. I'm outgoing with my little circle, but not with like strangers.
Um, I wonder if there's going to be a change as we enter into the twilight of our years. Will there be a dramatic shift? Because if I have shifted to like there's no small talk happening with me, and I'm wondering if that's going to change with you, like all of a sudden like you
No,
start doing all the small talk.
no. Only if I'm like forced to with people that I have to be around, but not with strangers. Like I'm just not like she takes pictures with the security guard.
That was Marissa, pre-COVID Marissa.
Like who's
Not so
that?
much anymore. Like, no, thank you. I think about I have children, and sometimes like I see like students of my school, and I'll be like, oh, I'm such and such, I'm their whatever teacher, blah blah blah. And like you're talking to the parents, and now I'm like, and then I keep going. I like, no, thank you. No, thank you. I don't want to hear about Johnny's coloring. I don't want to hear about their teacher. No, thank you. Oh, they learned
I
how to tie the
yeah,
no, thank you.
that's what I'm like. Like I don't really I have no interest in the story and the detail. How many times have you asked me, well, what were they wearing? I was like, I don't know. I don't care. Like I've been telling you this for years when you want more details. So I have to make a concerted effort when I'm like, okay, this is something Marissa's gonna want to know details about. So pay attention. But for the most part, I'm like, I don't know. I don't care. I don't know what they were saying.
That's so funny to me. So I've been learning how to manage my stress by, like I'll ride my bike,
Mhm.
um, reading an actual book, not just articles on my phone. I don't do yoga. Sometimes I meditate like before bed. I think about something, just drift off with that. Um, spending time with friends. Okay. Um, so this is 9 ways to manage stress, and it mentioned most of that: saying your prayers, practice yoga, manage your time, think positive, read books, practice art, spend some time with friends, spend time in nature. Have you done any of these things as of late to manage stress of the world?
I did yoga in Hawaii on the beach, which was
Oh,
very,
magical.
it was nice, but at the same time, it's like I'm not flexible like that. It's like one of those things where I'm gonna have to continuously do yoga. Yoga is not like a one-time thing. Like you gotta be dedicated to it. You know what I mean? And so
Mhm.
I don't know how dedicated, uh, like I don't know how dedicated I can or want to be.
Do you remember you and I did yoga?
Yes,
We went on a, oh,
yes. Why didn't I remember that when I booked this Hawaii yoga? Because that was the worst. I don't think we finished it. We're like, this is some bullshit. Let's be out. That shit hurt.
so
It
yeah,
was
but
so it was like advanced yoga. I'm like, what the hell are we doing?
but for the people listening, there's caveats to what we're talking about. We were on a cruise, so it was a moving boat. It was the front of the boat, which the view was incredible, but I couldn't like really enjoy it. Plus the yoga, plus plus plus. It was like extreme yoga, and no thank you. But it was the funniest thing looking over at you and then looking at the yoga instructor, and it's like, oh, y'all ain't got the same moves going on
Um,
right now. And it was like, we're like, let's leave.
Plus,
Okay. And like
I'm not flexible. Like I have joint issues, and
mm-hmm,
that was a situation on the beach last week. But at the same time, it was like it was just three of us, me, my mom, and some other woman, and
mm-hmm.
so it was fine. But it's definitely something I would have to do, like take a class so I can
Yeah.
learn. But I like the meditating and listening to the water with my eyes closed. Like yoga on the
Yeah.
beach is is the bomb. Yoga
Yeah.
in a sweaty studio, not so much.
Not so much. They have we're very lucky to live on the island of Long. So they have a lot of opportunities for outside yoga.
Yeah,
Um and like yoga by the water and stuff like that. So that's definitely something I think you should explore further.
I actually thinking about just doing my own thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't need a class.
Yeah.
I can, kind of just get a yoga mat, and meditate, and
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, so that's one of the things I did, recently, and but I say my prayers throughout the day, and I try to spend time with friends, and you know, I'm tired.
When it One of the things I've been doing was like when somebody's telling me something and it's gossip, pre Pandarosa, Marissa would be like salivating. I
Mhm.
found myself lately in the past like few months, that's none of my business though. And like leave it like, oh, that's none of my business.
Right.
And if they keep talking and they're like,
I like the
have you seen
gossip
that? Have you
within,
had that? Like,
I like the gossip within my family. Like if my mother tells me something or my aunt tells me something, I'm going to tell one or the other. Like, did you hear
that's
what happened to such and such?
I feel like that's totally different. I'm on the baseball field, I'm at the park, I'm in Stop and Shop. No, thank you. It's about a coworker. No, thank you.
Right.
But yeah, oh no, I miss. That's one of the things I miss. I really, really miss. Like, obviously, I miss my parents. I'll never not miss them. But one of the things I really miss with my mom is like being able to like talk shit with her. And it
Mhm.
was always like that no holds bar, that like those feelings that you're not allowed to tell nobody, but like you could tell your mom and your mom could tell you because it's like y'all are talking shit together and ain't nobody ever gonna hear. Like, that's one of the things that I miss. And it'd be like about people that I have no clue. I'll never know, I'll never see, and she'll be like, "Oh, you're never gonna meet them, but I got to tell somebody." And you're like, "Yeah, what is it?"
My
Mm.
dad is one of the biggest gossips, but it's but then he'll then when you like start salivating like word, then he'll be like, "Oh, you're a gossip." I'm like, "Motherfucker, you the
Oh,
one who
first,
started it." He's like, "You just like your grandma, got to know it all." I'm like, "You're the one telling it." So he tries to like
flip it.
flip it, yeah, and but he's a true blue gossip head,
Yeah,
yeah,
I love it.
and he likes to
I
gossip
love it.
about TV shows too. Like if I want to talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, he's like down.
My dad never gossiped ever, ever, and I never even like. He's a guy with four sisters.
He gossip.
Never
He just didn't
gossiped.
gossip with you. I guarantee you, he
Yeah.
gossiped with each of them.
I hope so because I can't go through life thinking like this dude never talks shit. He gotta talk shit to somebody. And but even
Everybody talks shit. Just a matter of
yeah,
who they talk shit to.
yeah. And what kind of shit?
And me and my dad's relationship is unique in that he's my friend.
Yeah,
No, he didn't raise me. And
yeah.
so he had no responsibility in how I was reared. And so our relationship is only 10% parenting, 90% friendship. And
D-
so we talk and just like gossip.
I always wonder like father child, father daughter, father son, father they relationships. Once you get to like your 30s and 40s, are you friends? Like, is there no more parenting? Like, what is that like?
The
I always
parenting,
wonder.
like with me and my mom, like I'm 47 now, and my mom still parents me, but she's also my friend. And for years I rebelled against calling her my friend. Like she thinks she calling me her best friend. She ain't my best friend. Marissa's my best friend. You know what I mean? But it's like
Yeah,
I see,
there's the friendship.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I we travel well together. There was a time where I would have to pray before I went to go visit her because I was like, we just like oil and water or oil and vinegar.
Hmm.
Oil and vinegar go together, right? Yeah.
No.
You put it on a sandwich, oil and vinegar?
Yeah, but it doesn't mix. It's still droplets separated.
But people like it on a sandwich, right? Together.
Oh, so have you ever been to Jersey Mike's and got a
I had a sandwich today from Jersey Mike's over by
did
near
you
your house.
did you have it a Mike's way where they put the
No,
oil and vinegar and then
I
the
get a kids
oregano?
meal. I get the kids meal when I'm there.
But it could still be a Mike's way. That means the oil and vinegar plus the oregano.
I don't like vinegar. So
Okay.
anyway, whatever the two, oil and water, like they don't go on.
My mouth is salivating. All I can think about, we gotta go for a meal now.
But that's how our relationship was like.
Hmm.
I don't know if she would say the same thing. I just knew that I would I was just always angry. And a lot of that anger came from our past.
Right,
I
right.
couldn't not hold it against her, even as much as I said I wasn't, I knew I was deep down.
Right.
But now we're friends and, you know, we have a good relationship and talk every day or whatever. But I think it's a mutual respect for one another, but at the same time, she's also my mother. You know what I mean? I respect her as my friend. I respect her more so as my mom. Like, I know, like, I can go to her before anyone. You know,
Yeah.
mom, I need whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
or I have a medical situation. You know what I'm saying? That you can't
Yeah.
talk to your friends about, you can't talk to your dad about, but you know, that kind of thing. So
I often think about that, you know, for myself.
right.
I don't know if do you get over it? That's the wrong verbiage, but for lack of a better word, do you ever just like get over, like, you know, like your elders, like especially like your parents, grandparents, like their death. Like your grandmothers were very, very exactly. And your grandmothers were such like a big force in your life. And I think about like, but the thing with my parents, that's also the caveat is that like my dad, while he was in my life, he also wasn't. When I was present physically with him, I know that I had his attention, but out of sight, out of mind. This mofo didn't look for me, didn't care about me. I was at his funeral and people didn't know he had a daughter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. So I think about that often. So I always wonder, especially because I have kids myself. But even if I didn't, I'm sure I would wonder, like, what would my relationship be with them? What would it evolve to? What does that, I don't know, like, what does that mean? And every once in a while, like, when I see, I don't know, like grandparents so excited to see grandkids, I'm like, "Hmm,
Yeah.
would they be excited? Or would they
I
just be
think
another disappointment? Like,
your mom, like, I can only go by her. I think your mom would be super excited and always trying to like be in your kids' lives. At the same time, you would be so annoyed.
yeah.
I know you'd be.
See,
You'd be super annoyed.
yeah.
What the hell?
But like, oh, now she wants to be around. Now she likes kids. Now she wants to be in my life, this bitch. So but the thing when it comes to like my kids, I think that she would be all about, especially one of them. It would be like two peas
Yeah.
in a pod. The other two would be like, oh no, she'd be all about it. But she'd be all peed in a pod with one of them. And I think because I've always searched and always wanted to be like a thought of my mom. I have mother and father issues, which is great at fucking 100. Um, I'd be so like the last thing you want is to be jealous of your kid, and the last thing you want is be like, oh bitch, now you got time.
Right.
But you know, things do come with age, and you have to like I have to let go.
It's easier said than done, and there's no rush. So
Yeah, that's true. I
yeah.
wonder. I wonder how. I think about like one of my girlfriends. She's like she has like oh like her mother has I don't know how, like the stages of dementia. I don't know if it's like stage one, stage. I don't know how that's verbiage. I don't know how that's worded, but she's dealing with really bad dementia right now, and she's focusing on. There's three daughters, and she's focusing like, oh, this is great, and they take her out, but they work and they have other things, so it's not like they can just. So she calls the daughters, and she's like, yeah, oh, I saw you yesterday, but what am I gonna do today? Oh, okay. Or like if they're dropping her off and taking her out or doing something, she's like, okay, well now I have nothing to do tomorrow. And she's like, not that she complains, but she's, venting about the situation right now. And I keep thinking to myself, like, oh man. Now imagine like that's like the flip side. Yeah, I got mother issues, but this bitch ain't here. Like, how would this be if I had N plus and then this? Like, oh man.
We all have unique relationships and non-relationships, and we're given a deck of cards, not a deck of cards, a hand, and you just,
And
I don't know.
that's it.
You know, I one thing that gives me high stress is death. Like, every single day I'm like, is this the last day for someone, my mom? Like I can't
Uh,
not live that way. I don't know how to not every single day. Like
mhm.
we're in Hawaii, it's like a time difference. So she's not going to be up at the. I'm like, it's 5 a.m. Why is she not up yet? You know, but it's 11 a.m.
Yeah.
East Coast time. But she's getting acclimated now to the time zone. But I'm
Oh
like up,
Lord.
I've been up since like 2 o'clock watching TV. It's 5 a.m. and she has not come down for coffee or nothing. So I go up there and I look
Mom.
and I'm like, okay, yeah, she's fine.
It's just breathing.
And then I
It's
could
the
hear like
worst.
above me, I hear movement of like, oh, thank God. Thank you, Jesus. Then I say a prayer. Thank you, Jesus.
Let me sit in
I don't
gratitude.
like living this way though. I don't like wondering, waiting for the next shoe to drop. Like who's gonna be next? Which member
Oh,
of my
homie,
family?
please.
Every day it's just the same thing, you know,
Yeah,
and it's always, we all can say this, it's always somebody we don't expect.
I know.
Even if it's somebody's ill, it's like the other person is the one that got hit by a car. It's like, really?
You know?
I can't. It's just too much.
Oh, homie.
Anyway, it is what it is.
Oh,
It is
all
what.
right. I'm not ready, but I'm trying to get ready.
Oh, whoops.
Jesus Christ. Hold on.
I- You're fine. Gee. This is like, oh, there we go. Okay.
It's
What?
not playing. Mine is not playing.
Well, I got it.
Marissa's Musings.
I'm glad one of us came prepared. So, we talked about checking in with our friends. We talk about mental health. We talked about a whole host of things. Pause and think. Sit in gratitude. Easier said than done. But think about the kind of friend that you need and be that for someone else. But understand that sometimes that's not the type of friend that they need in return. Be okay with that. Move forward. Do your check ins. Do your daily gratitudes. And keep moving forward. I do want to highlight something though. This is no longer amusing.
Oh, okay.
We had spoken about a while ago female sanitary products,
Mm-hmm.
and I talked about organic, and I found a company that I want to highlight, and it's RAEL, and they are a female minority owned K beauty company.
Mm-hmm.
And there's multiple ways that we can do sustainable, organic, and reusable, non-plastic. They have student discounts, they have disposable, they have reusable. I just want to highlight them. It's Get RAEL, getrael.com. You can check them out. 3 women who decided to, from their K beauty industry, they decided to take on this need that we have. So hopefully you can check them out, look into it. They have organic products, they have disposable, reusable, and it's not just pads. They have a few different options.
Well,
And
I am not using reusable sanitary napkins. That's just gross to me.
well, then you have your 100% cotton pads with wings, should you desire, that you can toss. They're
Who doesn't wear
biodegradable.
wings? I want to meet these people. There's a lot of people that don't use wings.
Wait a minute, what?
Well, they sell them in the store, non-wing pads.
What? It just doesn't float
Why
around?
why would you get non-wing pads when we have wings? Just like they're reusable. Why would you buy reusable if we have disposable?
Well, some people do things with that. Some people just, don't mind rinsing it out. And well, you have actually artists that paint with their menstrual blood.
Okay, you know what? This was a nice conversation.
RAEL, your female minority owned beauty company from the K beauty industry, crafted with plush organic cotton and super absorbent core to keep you dry and comfy so that time of the month feels like any other time.
Okay. Nice.
Well, thanks for the platform. And homie, I love you.
Love you too.
Have a good day.
Where can they catch us?
Yep, yeah, yes, 18 on Instagram and Twitter, the Yep, yeah, yes podcast on Facebook. Any smart device, all you got to do is say, hey, said device, please play the Yep, yeah, yes podcast. On YouTube, please check us out. Like, subscribe, and add us, booze.
Holler.
Holler.
Bye now.
Bye now.